Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Lead with Giants TV. I'm here tonight with Barry Smith, the leadership author and speaker, John Maxwell certified coach. Welcome to our show, Barry.
Thanks, Tal. Appreciate it, man. Glad to be here.
Great, and I'm glad you took the time. I know this is a busy week for you with launching your book. Did it start last week or this week?
Yeah, it's actually last week, and it's overflowed into this week, but it's been a great experience.
Great, and the title of the book is actually called Leadership by Invitation: How to RSVP and Embrace Your Role as a Leader. So we'll dive into that conversation in just a few, but let's do a quick introductions. We'll start with Liz, please.
Hi, I'm Liz Stinselli, and I'm happy to be here with you from Salt Lake City, Utah.
Great, glad to have you this evening, and we'll go next to Dan Forbes in Florida.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dan Forbes, hanging out from Sarasota, Florida. I am the founder of the Lead with Giants community. You can connect with us at leadwithgiants.com. Barry, good to be with you tonight. Tal, Liz, I'm looking forward to this.
Great.
Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us, Dan. And last but not least, Barry Smith. Tell us a little bit of a quick introduction about yourself for our audience.
Yeah, I'm Barry Smith, Building What Matters, and I'm coming to you from Gresham, Oregon today, not too far from where I live, but this is where the workday gets spent, and appreciate being here, Tal. Thank you.
Well, it's great to have you, and I dived into your book a little bit of last week and into the weekend. A great read. So I encourage everybody who wants to grow as a leader and develop as a leader. Barry tells it from his heart. So let's get started. And Barry, tell us about what inspired you. I know you've been doing a lot of things in the last 3 years. In 2011, you created the company Building What Matters, and I'd like to have our audience share your philosophy about building what matters. Let's start with that first.
Yeah, great question. Thank you. I really feel that's not only the name of my business, that's my purpose. Building what matters, and what matters is people. And that's kind of been a big part of my leadership journey, but it was really, I guess, an exclamation point got put on it when I was down in Guatemala last June. And that was part of a John Maxwell's nonprofit Equip. We took 150 coaches down there, and in 3 days we trained about 18 or 20,000 leaders. And for me, it ended up with an experience that involved one of the kids. We were in a fire station working with the firefighters, and one of their kids was in there. And without just diving way into the story, you could really sense that we were making a difference down there, and the future for that little boy was impacted by our presence and the things we were doing there to provide leadership and personal development for them. And it really inspired me to write the book with the intent of helping people embrace the role as a leader, because I believe everybody has the potential to be a leader, and there's a lot of different reasons why they may not embrace that role, but my call to action out of the book is to do that, to embrace that role and lead, because somebody out there is waiting for everybody to lead them, and that's kind of the call to action for it.
And you were part of the, actually you probably still are part of the John Maxwell, the mentorship program. You share a really interesting story about how you were invited to be part of that. Senior leaders, only a few people. You filled out the application, you went through the process. That must have been a thrill just to be connected also on a call with John Maxwell himself. I know you had some emotions going into that, and you shared that in the book.
Yeah, it was an honor. There was about 60 people that applied for the position to be on the President's Advisory Council, and they selected 15, and I was blessed to be one of them. And after the excitement of being selected wore off, and it didn't take long for that, I realized I got a big responsibility here, and the self-limiting beliefs, the doubts, the gremlins on our shoulders, those type of things that kind of hold us back, really started creeping into my mind. And I asked John about that. I said, how do the 15 of us you know, honor you, your brand, what you're doing with this organization, to represent and lead this tribe. At that time, I think we were, you know, about 1,500 people. And that was on a call, and I got to see him about a month later in Orlando, and I kind of shared with him the journey of overcoming that fear, and really in that sense embracing my own role. And it was a big lesson for me, and you know, things have been positive from then, but that was a big step in my own leadership journey for sure.
Great, I love that. Well, let me give an opportunity for our panel to dive into our conversation as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to jump in. So, Barry, I've been watching you from about a 10,000-foot view, I would call it, for the last couple of years as you connected with the Lead with Giants community, and your influence has been great in the community and your leadership. I remember when you were going down to Guatemala, and we were sort of following you as you were writing and posting. I remember the picture of the little boy that you posted, and you know, it's so nice to hear you tell again how that connection really had an impact upon you. And you know, in our community, in the Lead with Giants community, the connecting, engaging, serving, learning, and leading are the values of the community, and you have epitomized that. I read your book, obviously loved it. Tell me more about you know, your philosophy about everyone being a leader, and I'm sure that's greatly influenced by John Maxwell. Some people think that you know, leadership comes later. What is your philosophy regarding leading now as opposed to leading later, and how do we RSVP, and what does that mean?
Yeah, I love the way you frame that. Leading later, yeah, and I think that is, Dan. That's a way I think a lot of people look at it. That, you know, there's no sense of urgency, and then they get down the road and they wonder why they haven't accomplished as much as they would have liked to. They wonder why people around them are challenged when it comes to goal setting or goal achieving. And what it really comes down to me, is one word, and that's influence. And when we really start thinking about how we influence those people around us, how we impact them, their lives, their own personal development, or even leadership development. I mean, you know, level 5 leaders are developing other leaders. And, you know, how do we do that? And can we get better? What do we need to do to get better? And the RSVP process that, you know, I kind of lay out in the book, again, that's my call to action. I didn't want my book to be something for people to read and then put on the shelf. You know, that final part 4, is really a challenge to take a look at your vision so you can cast a clear vision. You know, look at your purpose, define your true purpose, and then find a strategy that your resource to use. That's where I think a lot of people fail, is they got a good vision, they got a good purpose, but then they choose a strategy that is not going to work for them. They're not resourced to do it. And so I spent some time on that. And then the results part of it really comes down to doing the first 3 steps, right? The vision, purpose, and strategy. And then just apply the right plan. You know, set SMART goals and write them out. You know, when you put stuff on paper, you can check it. You can check it forwards and backwards. And I honestly believe that if you get the vision, purpose, and strategy part right, the only one that can keep you from succeeding is you in the implementation part of it, because it's right there. If you got a plan that does work, that you're resourced to complete, that serves your purpose, that's within your vision, there should be no reason that it fails. You know, other than Mother Nature, things that happen. But I mean, from a straightforward standpoint, you should be setting yourself up for success.
Exactly.
Very.
Yeah,
Sorry.
hey Liz.
Hey, first of all, love the book. Want to tell you how impressed I have been with how you've actually proven that you're living your purpose. You've inspired a lot of us individually, encouraged a lot of us individually, and that's been fantastic. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
There's a lot of us struggle with finding our purpose, can you maybe give us a little bit of advice about not getting frustrated and giving up as we're trying to kind of thrash out what purpose?
Yeah, and I love that question, because I think a lot of people are there, Liz, definitely, trying to find that purpose. And I got to point back to vision. It's got to start there. It's not just what do you want. Your vision kind of gives you a parameter to work within. And as I look at in the book, it's more than what do you want. It's where do you want it? Who do you want it with? How do you want to change? How's it going to impact your life? There's more questions than what do you want. When you get clear on your vision and you jump into purpose, then you can take a look at, what your strengths are. When we work within our strength zone, we're definitely more efficient. And I don't think by design anyone's purpose is going to be outside of their strength zone. And then look at the who, what, and where that you kind of pull from your vision. And then what's most important to you? Is it financial security? Is it happiness? Is it your health? What are the most important things? And when you take a look at those three elements, you kind of identify what's in the center of that, where they converge. And I honestly believe that's where your purpose lies. So for those that are struggling with identifying their purpose, I got a great exercise for them in the book. But really look at those things, the things that matter, the things you're good at, and the who, what, where of where you want to spend your time. And that's where you're going to find your purpose. So, keep fighting. Anybody watching this, listening, if you're struggling with that purpose element, it's focus. It takes time to find it. It took me a couple years to really identify my purpose. And I don't think it's something you can do overnight. But don't get discouraged, because everybody's got one. Just need to look in the right place. Great question.
Thanks.
I always love the two important days in your life: the day you were born and the day you find out why. So I want to ask you the question: when was the day you found out your biggest why? Kind of a follow-up question to Liz.
Yeah, you bet. And I love this question. I've actually put this into keynotes and stuff, but Tal, I kind of liken it to defining moments as well. And I like to say the three biggest defining moments of my life were the day I said I do, and the 2 days I heard it's a boy. But the day that I found my why was really that day in Guatemala, June 15th, 2013, when that boy reached up to me, in that universal language, to give me a hug. And that was my why. That's what inspired me for the book. And that's really what inspires me every day, is just that people out there need us to lead them, and I'm just passionate about that, and I want to help others to be able to do the same thing. That would be the thing I would point to, definitely.
That's great. It's such a great segue to finish our segment one here, and then we'll dive into that transformational part of leadership that you went through in Guatemala. So let's go ahead and end our first segment here. And thank you so much for joining us here. We'll go next to the second one.
Thanks, Tom.